Is it not written in your law that ye are gods? You understand what I'm saying? So it just depends on what level you own based on, whether you're human or whether you're immortal.
At ease. It's your boy Soul Immortal. You know, a lot of the times the reason we can't achieve greatness, or the reason we can't achieve, just finding a higher version of our current self, is because we're still tied to our past, right? A lot of times, while we keep seeing the same, repetitive cycles over and over. In other words, the same, the reason we keep seeing, having the same financial issues, the reason we keep having the same issues with women, and et cetera, you name, what category of life you want to, is because we're constantly trying to create our future, based on our past, right? And the only way to get over this, man, is to really have a moment. And when I say moment, this could be, a few minutes, this could be a few hours, this could be a few months, maybe even a few years, man. You have to spend a moment in self-reflection, which means you have to spend a moment in this silence. You have to spend a moment sitting still and just observing self, observing who you are, observing the results you've always received. And I'm telling you, the only way to really diagnose this thing is to identify what your patterns are. Again, we're constantly trying to create our futures by using our past. And I'm telling you, the reason we're getting these cycles over and over is because we need to diagnose ourselves. And the way you diagnose yourself is by sitting still and looking at your patterns in life, right? I can remember I was talking to this sister, man. And this sister, and we were involved. We were dating. And she said, you know what? You just can't, accept what's meant for you, right? And she went on kind of talking about this whole speech, right? And then she said, when it comes to you and a woman, she said, it has absolutely nothing to do with a woman loving you. It has nothing to do with a woman, respecting you and all this stuff. It's something completely different. And I just sit there and observe. I just sit there and listen to what she had to say, right? I'm like, okay. But after, after she gave her spiel, I thought about it. And I thought about, my patterns. And I look back over a number of years, even once I got to a place where I said, you know what, now I'm no longer attracting, the low hanging fruit. I'm no longer attracting the 95% woman. Even when I got to a portion of my life where I was attracting high vibrational women, I was still having certain patterns play themselves out over and over and over. So I started to think about what the sister said, right? And I came to the conclusion. I said, you know what? Even though I'm vibrating on a frequency where I'm getting, higher quality women, over a course of time, I said, I still brought an element of my old life. Like I still brought an element of, what happened when I was entertaining the 95%. And I was using this to create my outcome. Even though I didn't desire that old life, I was still using this stuff to create, what my end result would look like. Right. So I was still going in these same old patterns. And that's one example, but you could tie this same thing to any part of your life. Man, there are people that can't even seem to, people that want to have, financial freedom. They can't even seem to save, $500, $1,000. And when you think about it, these people have been trying to, have some kind of freedom or have some kind of savings in their life for their whole lives, right? And they've received raises every year. They've received, income tax checks. They receive all kind of bonuses. They receive all kind of income, but it's something in them. It's something in their pattern that when they try to create this new future, they're still bringing some element from the past. Whether it's, I know I had at one point in time, I had a issue with money where if I got an extra couple of dollars, but that automatically meant I was supposed to have something new in life. Whether it was a new, gadget, whether it was a new toy as far as like a 4-wheeler or a motorcycle or something like that. I felt like if I had some kind of a financial increase, now it was time to get something. And that was something that was just implanted in my mind. And that was a disease to my finances for the longest, man. So we have to look at our patterns, right? Even, going back to relationships, man, I know a lot of brothers that, there are a lot of men that, get with women and they'll have a child. They'll so they have a child, they'll break up. They'll get with another woman, have a child, break up, get with another. And it's a pattern and it's tied to something. There's a brother I went to school with, man. And this was years ago, the last time I even talked to him, several years. And at that point, he had 10 children. At that point, I don't know if he's had any more since then. But it's like when you see a man that, has 10 children by, 8, 9, 10 different women, like there's something in that. Well, apparently the man is attracted to women. He's trying to, have some kind of relationship with women. But when it gets to a certain point, then it's like, okay, now that I have the child, maybe I need to exit or something else. All I'm saying is, man, when we talk about creating our futures, man, it's going to be impossible if you don't identify your patterns from the past and release that. Even when it comes to brothers, I know some brothers, man, some brothers that I have grown up with, man, that are good brothers, that have a consistent history of nothing but crime. Back when we were young kids, man, doing crazy stuff, they might have got in a little trouble, maybe stealing a pack of candy off the jump. They'd end up turning into some other stuff as we got to teenagers. In our 20s, they might have, whatever. It just over the course of their lives is nothing but, crime. Nothing but like this is my life. And we can talk about building something new. Like, hey, like, brother, you have an option to do this. Hey, open a barbershop, do that, And it's like, man, like you're trying to create a future, but you're still looking at the results from the past. And I'm telling you, this is our crutch. This is a handicap to us, when it comes to going forward in life. So you say, how do you break the cycles? The first thing you have to do, brothers, is be honest with yourself and call it what it is, man. A lot of the reasons why problems keep repeating themselves is because we don't look at them as problems. At some point in time, we're gonna have to be honest with ourselves and call a thing what it is. Because see, a lot of people go their entire lives playing the blame game. They'll know that this certain outcome is coming from a certain pattern, but instead of calling it what it is, instead of fixing it, it's a lot easier to say that I do a certain thing because of something mom and daddy did, something the man did, or something that happened in my childhood. It's easy to go your whole life blaming somebody, and the entire time you're just wasting time. You're just wasting life. So call a thing what it is, man. Like you can only play the blame game for so long. At some point in time, you have to take responsibilities, as far as you being able to fix it. So just be honest with yourself. Call it what it is, and move forward. The second thing is you have to simply break the pattern. You have to simply break the pattern. And the thing is, the first thing you have to understand is that all these actions attached to what we're doing, it's all attached to our emotion, right? It's all attached to our emotion. So the first thing you have to do is figure out what it is that's triggering your emotion. Like I said, if a person gets a certain, excess amount of money in the bank account, does that trigger a need for you to go out and get a new pair of shoes, get a new car, get a new this? Once you have a child with the woman, does that trigger, something inside of you saying, okay, you know what, like for some reason, my mind is saying this relationship is now over. When a woman decides to finally, commit to you and submit to you, or when a man finally decides to, move in a certain manner in a woman's life, does that trigger something in you saying, okay, now that I, quote unquote, have them, now I can start moving a little different? We have to identify what our triggers are and understand that it's all emotional. After we identify that, we have to stop reacting to things and start responding to things. I'm gonna say it again. Once we identify what the triggers are, we have to stop reacting and start responding. And there's a subtle difference. Reacting is simply, acting 100% off your emotions. Responding is acting off of emotional intelligence. So in other words, once we're triggered, we have to start thinking. We have to start saying, you know what? Okay, I see my end goal. Like how do my emotions, how does this feeling that I'm getting to move a certain way, how does that match up with my end goal, right? It's simply a matter of emotional intelligence, man. It's simply a matter of transmutation of energy that once sent us down the wrong path and using us to send us in the right direction. I'm telling you, we have to stop creating our future with elements of our past. That's going to be one of the primary barriers to greatness. That's going to be one of the primary barriers to us finding higher levels of ourselves.